Welcome everyone. This is the 17th video of the distance learning program, and I'm happy to be here today. Thanks for watching. Today's lesson is going to be on Unit 5. We're going to start Unit 5 in the Ventures3 book. That's this book right here. And it's going to start on page 58. Today's lesson is about community events. Community events. And I'd like to ask you, think about some community events that might take place in your community. You might say, well, what is a community event? Community events are events that are organized by people living in your community. These are events or activities for people who live in the community, and they're organized by people that live in the community. Think about some events that take place in your community. I'm going to write some of the names of the kinds of events that you might go and see. Okay? Okay. As you can see, I've written 3 different kinds of events that you might go and see. Concerts, festivals, and story hour. Story hour is when someone might read a story for children. I'm going to write some more events on the board. Puppet shows. And finally, exercise classes. Puppet shows and exercise classes. So all of these are community events that are organized for and by the people living in your community. Next, I'd like for you to think about, where do these types of events take place? What locations? So some of the places where you might go and see these kinds of events are the park, the library, museums, the town hall, or community centers. So these are the locations where you might go and see community events. The park, the library, museums, town hall, or community centers. Now I'd like for you to turn in your books to page 58. Page 58, Unit 5, the listening lesson. Look at the pictures on page 58 and tell me, what do you see? Here is a family, Wen, Chen, and Mei, and they're looking at a laptop computer. Look at picture number 2. That looks like an outdoor amphitheater, and these people here on the stage are performing, and it looks like they're playing musical instruments. And people sitting in front of the amphitheater are watching. So this would be some type of a concert. Picture number 3. Well, that looks like a garden of some kind or a park. And some people are walking out in front of these flowers. They're walking through the park, okay? Picture number 5. Oh, I'm sorry, picture number 4. This looks like some type of museum, or maybe it's a community center, but it's probably a museum. And then picture number 5, it shows a woman who is holding a book, and there's some adults and children sitting in a semicircle, and they're probably listening to her as she reads the book. So that would probably be a story hour. All right, now I'm going to get Nicole and I'm going to read the conversation for lesson 5. Okay, everyone. I got Nicole to come and help me read the conversation between May and When. So if you guys can turn to the back of your book for Unit 5, we're going to read the conversation between May and When. I'm going to be When, and my daughter is going to be May. May, I'm so glad tomorrow is Friday. It's been a long week.
That's for sure. What would you like to do this weekend, Win?
Well, there are a few movies we haven't seen yet. Or we could go to a concert downtown.
Oh, we can't afford to go to concerts, Win. They're too expensive, and I'm sort of tired of going to the movies.
Okay, so let's do something different on Sunday. Something we haven't done yet this summer.
Like what? Got any ideas?
Let's check the newspaper for community events. Maybe we'll find something free right here in the neighborhood. Let's take a look. We have a lot of options. Here's something interesting. There's a concert in the park on Sunday at noon. Admission is free.
And here, look, there's a free walking tour of the gardens on Sunday at 11 o'clock.
Here's another option, May. The Museum of Art is free the first Sunday of every month. There's an exhibit of modern art showing right now. The museum opens at 10 a.m.
Oh, and here's something at the library. Free storytelling for children on Sunday at 10:30. Everything is happening on the same day at the same time. What do you want to do, Win?
Why don't we go to the library first?
Okay.
Then let's plan to go to the concert if the weather is nice. And then maybe later we can go to the art museum.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll check the weather forecast for the weekend, then we can decide.
Very good. Well, thank you, Nicole, for helping out.
Anytime.
And I hope you enjoyed the conversation between May and When. Okay, everyone. Now that we've seen what happens in the conversation, we're ready to move to page 59 in the book, where we can answer the questions in Part 2. First, it says, who are the speakers? Well, the speakers are May and When. So the answer to the first question would be May and When. Then it says, what are they talking about? They're talking about their plans for the weekend, so that would be the answer to question number 2. Now let's go to Part B. We want to match the events with the times that the events occur. So it says, number 1, it opens at 10 o'clock. And you can choose outdoor concert, garden tour, art exhibit, and storytelling. So, if we look at the conversation, we need to find out what starts at 10 o'clock. So, right here it says, the Museum of Art is free the first Sunday of every month. There's an exhibit of modern art showing now. The museum opens at 10 a.m. So that would be the art exhibit. So the answer is C, art exhibit. Next it says, for part number 2, it says it starts at 10:30. So we need to find out what starts at 10:30. So looking at the conversation, it says right after the one at 10 a.m., it says, oh, and here's something at the library, free storytelling for children on Sunday at 10:30. So storytelling is at 10:30. So the answer is D, storytelling. Then it says it starts at 11. So let's find out what starts at 11. Oh, the garden tour. The garden tour right here. It says, and here, look, there's a free walking tour of the gardens on Sunday at 11 o'clock. So the answer to that question, number 3, is B, the garden tour. Then it says, the family will do this first. It says right here, why don't we go to the library first? So what happens at the library? That's storytelling. So the answer to number 4 is D, storytelling. And then finally, part 5 says, the family will do this if the weather is nice. So what will they do if the weather is nice? So then it says, then let's plan to go to the concert if the weather is nice. And then maybe later we can go to the art museum. So if the weather is nice, they plan to go to the concert. So all we have to do is find concert, and that's A. So the answer to number 5 is A. Now let's look at part 3A. It says complete the story. I'm going to read the words in the gray box first. Admission, afford, concert, events, exhibit, options, storytelling, tour. All right. So, what I'm going to do now is read the paragraphs in the green box, and we're going to try to determine which words go in the blanks. So you need to fill in the blanks with the correct words from the gray box. It is Thursday. Win and May are talking about their plans for the weekend. They can't blank to spend a lot of money on entertainment. If you have the money to spend for some food or for the rent or for an evening out with your friends or going out to dinner, that means that you can afford to pay for it. It means that you have the money to pay for it. You can afford it. If you don't have the money, then you can't afford to pay for it. It means you don't have the money. So the word that we need to put in blank number 1 is afford. Next, they decide to check the newspaper for community blank on Sunday. And remember, this whole paragraph that we just read, the conversation between May and Win, was about their plans for the weekend, and they were talking about community events. And that's what the topic of our lesson is about today. So the word that goes in this blank is events. So the number 2 blank is events. They have many blank, many blank. And then it talks about the different types of events. So that means they have many choices. So we need a word that's a synonym for choices. And the word that's a synonym for choices is options. So number 3 would be options. There's an outdoor blank in the park. Well, what community event takes place in the park? If you remember from the picture, this was an outdoor concert in picture number 2. And that occurs in the park. So the answer for number 4 would be concert. A walking blank of the gardens. When you walk through the gardens to see the different parts of the gardens, that's called a tour. And sometimes you have a person leading the tour. That's a tour guide. So the answer for number 5 is tour. A modern art blank at the museum, at the art museum. What word would go there, do you think? Well, a showing of modern art is called an exhibit. So the answer for number 6 would be exhibit. A modern art exhibit at the art museum. And storytelling for children at the library. All these events have free, and then it says blank. Well, they're talking about to get into or to enter the event. What do you pay? It's called the admission price, the admission. So if they have free admission, the answer to number 7 means that it doesn't cost anything to go to these events. And remember, many community events are free. The problem is that all these things are happening on Sunday at the same time. May and Win decide to take their son to the storytelling first. Remember, that's what they decided to do first, was the storytelling. So you would put storytelling in the 8th blank. Then, if the weather is nice, they will go to the concert. Later, they might go to the art museum. Now, I'd like for you to think about how you would have a conversation with a partner in part B. It says, talk with a partner, ask and answer the questions. What kind of entertainment do you enjoy on the weekend? That means, what do you do for fun on the weekend? You could think of all of the different things that you do on the weekend, and you could tell your partner about all of the events that you like to do for entertainment. Many people like to go to the park. Many people like to go out for dinner or to concerts, and you could have a conversation about all of those different forms of entertainment with a partner. So I hope that this was a helpful lesson for you today, and I look forward to seeing you in the last lesson for today. Please come back. Have a great day.